Hey, 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 you know what time it is.
Time for the heart to heart journey to unconditional love podcast.
That's right, I am your host, the late bloomer. That is my co-host, Harlem Brown. And what's going on, Harlem Brown? What's up, what's up, what's up?
What's up? What's up? Just happy to be here. What's going on?
Man, we ain't been doing this for a minute, man. I know we took some time off. I know you took some time off, but we had other things, so we ain't leave the audience hanging. We had something for them every week anyway. So, but hey,
Absolutely.
I just say, look, I didn't come prepared with anything. I just say let's do what we normally do. Show them how we even come up with these podcasts and things like that. I
That's what's
know, yeah, I know you've been talking to your village a lot lately.
well, my village has a few things that I reach out to try to find out what the village is talking about. So that's my little thing. I'll make some phone calls and see what the consensus is, what people are talking about, how they feeling. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I reached out to my village, man, but whew, your village is brutal, man. Y'all be asking questions to get brothers in trouble, man.
I
Y'all
don't
ain't
think
really
they're
trying
trying
to
to get
uplift the
brothers in
people.
trouble. They just trying to get some insight. I think it's more so an insight, not necessarily trying to get brothers in trouble, but trying to get a clearer understanding.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, this is the thing that has been coming up for me lately because I know a lot of times people say it's hard to date um, after you've been in a long term relationship, or if those who've been divorced and trying to get back into the dating scene. And they said
Mhm.
it's hard to really find somebody to date, especially women. Now, I don't want to speak for y'all. I ain't trying to be the spokesperson for y'all. I leave that up to you. But the question that I've been getting a lot is this. And I don't know if you have, and I know we haven't even talked about this yet. So I don't know if this might surprise you, but should a woman make the first move? What up? I think that's a good question.
I think that's a great question. I think it really depends. I'm gonna say this. I think it depends on how what your first move is, right? I think I hear a lot of times that guys will say, well, I'm not reaching out because I don't know if she's really interested or not. And then the girl will say, well, I'm gonna make sure that I let him know that I'm interested, but how much do you let somebody know that you're interested before you feel like you're the one who's kind of chasing, right? So I think it just depends on what you get back from that first response, because I think a lot of times, I think now people freeze because at both parties are, if you've been in a long-term relationship or if you've been married before, a lot of people are just not going to make that step because they don't know how to make that step. You have to, there was a vulnerable part of you that was in this long-term relationship that you thought was going to last forever, and then it didn't, right? And so now it's just like, how do I know what's true and what's not true? So there's extra walls up, there's extra guards that come up, and so I think it is difficult for both parties.
Okay, well, I mean that sounds good because I'm glad you said that because I was talking to my village of women, people, just so that I'm not always on the man side. I want to
Mhm.
get a feel. So, I try to join. Well, I don't try. I join conversations that it's just a majority of women, just to get an insight. Again, because we do the podcast, we have you. But when I asked, I didn't even ask this question; it just came up. I know a lot of women were saying men are too afraid to come talk to them because they don't want to be they don't want to feel like they got rejected.
Yes, I'd say that, but also I guess as a woman, I feel like it's it it's hard on me to be rejected, right? If I'm going out and I'm talking to somebody and the person seems interested and I feel like they're interested, and then I make a move to say, "Hey, I'm interested too," and they're like, "Okay." Like that makes a woman I guess for me as a woman, I feel double rejected because I'm like, that's supposed to be the man's responsibility, and I'm kind of stepping outside of my comfort zone to say, "Hey, look at me. I'm interested too." So I think it works both ways. It definitely works both ways. But I think for me, I'm saying I'm putting up the onus on me personally. Yeah, it makes me feel even double. It make That's a double rejection because here you are stepping outside of what you know you're supposed to do, and you got rejected. So, wah, wah.
Well, I'm gonna bring something from the men's village. Like, no, we ain't afraid of rejection. We just don't want to holler at you. How about that?
That's a good, yeah. Well, I mean, that's also. I mean, that is the main thing. Like, if the guy's not really interested in you, that's fine. Like, but I think at some point women feel like, okay, so this conversation is going good, this is going good, and he's not making a step. Maybe I should make a step to try to see what's happening. And then you get rejected, and then, or the guy doesn't want to talk to you. I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think maybe you should have that conversation. And maybe it should be a conversation more than you just jumping into something to see or automatically thinking that the person wants to talk to you. Maybe the person is just being
I was
nice.
joking a little bit. I'm not saying that men don't want it, but I know there's a lot of other things. Some men are they're not afraid just of their rejection. I think they're afraid that a lot of times if they approach a woman, they're going to want it, and it goes good conversation. They're going to be want a relationship out of it, and maybe that's what the men that man at that particular time is not looking for.
That's also a good point. I mean, but see, I think those are the things that should be said, right? I think that there's a lot of back and forth and a lot of there's a lot of back and forth, but there, in that back and forth, there's a lot of silence and things that's not specifically being asked. I feel as a person who likes to communicate that there's things that I may say that could be vague and it could be taken the wrong way or maybe not completely understood. And I think that's both ways because sometimes guys can say things that you're not really sure of how to take that. And that's a woman's village point right there. Like he said that he wasn't really sure. What does that mean? And so then you got like five women trying to justify what he's trying to say. And if it's your good friend, she's going to tell you, "Oh, he just scared. He just scared. You need to go ahead and push forward." And if it's because she doesn't want you to get your feelings hurt because she knows she's been there before too, right? So she's trying to help save your heart. And then you get the ones who are not trying to save your heart and be like, "Girl, you better run because you know all men are this and that and that." And it's just like, no, but he's different. Yeah, that's what you said about the last one. So it's a whole lot of, I feel, when you're having these conversations, please have as much clarity as possible because you don't want to ever walk away confused or not understanding what it is that you're getting yourself involved in.
Yeah, but
So
before
I'm
you
up
go there,
against
you gotta somebody's got to initiate the conversation. So
that. Right.
is it I think some men, and again, I can't speak for them. I know some men, so for the ones I talk to, I'm not saying all men because I don't want you to take me out of context. Um, I think some men don't feel that a woman that makes the first move is aggressive. And I didn't really want to say it that way, but I think sometimes that's how they feel. And then they're cautious, like, wait a minute. Like, you know. So I mean,
Yes.
how do you feel about that? Because that's what I know. I've come across an aggressive woman one time, and I'm like, yeah, nah. I think I'm gonna pass. I think I'm a shy away because that's a little bit too much.
I think
Why are you laughing? Hold on. Why are you
because
laughing?
a person came to mind, a friend of mine came to mind immediately when you said that, and I have to laugh because I used to always say, "What's wrong with her?" He'd be like, "She got on too strong." Like and I'm just like,
Yeah.
"But you said you liked her." But yeah, I'm like, "So if she likes you back, then that's a bad thing." And he's like, "No, but it's just like she gave me her house number, her work number, like this too much. Like she just gave her too much." And
That's a
so
lie.
thing. It is so, and I think that's what it is. I think that's what keeps people from having the clarity that they need and going back to ask the village about certain things. When a woman, when some women, I'm gonna say some women, when some women are excited or happy. Oh, you know what? I've been having my eye on him for a minute. He's finally giving me a little leeway to say that he's interested. So I just want to make sure that he understands I'm interested. it's a double-edged sword because yeah, you're saying that you're interested, but then how interested are you supposed to be? Should I pull back? Should I not say this? Should I say this? Should I say that? Then you start altering your own self, and then you find yourself in this place where what's the truth and what's not the truth? How, could I say this or can I not say this? Could I? If I say this, then he's going to think this, and if I say this, he's going to think this, and it comes a whole different beast by itself, and it puts the woman in a bad position because she starts to second guess everything,
Yeah.
right? So maybe I shouldn't have said this, maybe I shouldn't have said this, so and it's all about being your authentic self, but being your authentic self and then liking somebody who may think that, wait a minute, you're a little too much, or you're a little too aggressive, or this is progressing a little too quickly, puts that woman in a pull back stage that kind of alters the whole authenticity of it. And I've seen a guy one time. I'm just gonna put this out there. I seen this guy on social media one time, and he said something that was very, very disheartening. And I don't. I really. There were some women that was there that took it one way, and it was really, his statement was really harsh. And he said, I dated a girl for a little bit, and I talked to her, met her, however he met her. He met her. They talked for a little bit. They went out, and they had a good time, and everything was great until she agreed to sleep with him, and then it was over because he felt that she would have done that with anybody. He wasn't special, and I was like,
Yeah.
wow. And so the men were like, and he was like, don't y'all think that's a little too much? And then there were some men on the panel that was like, no, that wasn't too much. Y'all grown, like y'all are over 40. Like, what are you talking about? Like y'all did grown things. And and the girls was like, why would you say that about? Like he was really like he had called her a couple of names, and he was like, I would never talk to her again. And everybody was kind of confused. But my understanding of what he was saying was that he didn't feel special. But if you was going after her in that sense and y'all was really connecting, and then she was agreeable, then there was something wrong with her. So that made I'm thinking that made that woman and the women that were on the panel feel some kind of way that, okay, maybe I need to, I don't know. Should you start playing games? Should you start just, I don't know, just being something that you're not? Should you not say, hey, I'm interested, or hey, I want to be around you, or hey, I want to be with you? Or is that taboo until the guy says, okay, this is what it's going to be?
Yeah.
So
No,
I
I
just,
don't.
I
Go.
just, I don't know. I think it can be very gamey, as far as when it comes to what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it. But I mean, if you follow if you follow the Bible, if you follow God's way of doing things, then you wouldn't have that problem. And although it seems a hard way to, although we find it that we battle with our flesh because we want to do what we want to do, I felt like your heartache would definitely not be there if you would just follow the way that things are supposed to progress.
Oh,
Because no matter what you want, it's just you're not going to get it anyway because you're just not going to get it if you don't do it the right way.
well, I was getting ready to say something, but you segued it into what God's way is. So I want to just, what we gotta have a scripture.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
for this one, I found this Proverbs 18:22. So can you read that for the audience there, Harlem Brown?
Sure. Hold on. Of course, 1822.
Yep, Proverbs 18:22.
Of course, mine disappeared, but here we go.
Okay.
It says, um, oh, that's King James. Okay, wait a minute.
Well,
That's
while
why
you
I
trying
try
to
to keep.
get
That's why
what
I
I was
try to
gonna,
keep my Bible verses on point because if I
that's
don't,
okay.
then I'm just gonna be like, what?
While you finding that, what I was going to say before you segued it into that, that's why I thought it was a good segue to bring the scripture in. But some men like women to be aggressive, and that's okay. I want to just put this out there. It's your relationship. It's how you and the other person decides how you want to communicate with each other. Don't rely on anybody else or what everybody else is doing to figure out the way that you want to approach how to start a relationship, whether you want to be the aggressor, whether you want the man to be the aggressor, whatever. However, there is protocol, and that's why we brought this scripture up. And again, times have changed, lives has changed, and there's some men who are shy and won't make the first move, but really want to make the first move, but won't make the first move.
Okay.
So there's no right or wrong way. However, in this scripture, what does the scripture say?
It says, he who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord.
He who finds
He who finds a wife
a wife
finds what is good and
finds what is good
receives favor from the Lord.
and receives favor from the Lord. So it doesn't say she, and I'm not again paraphrasing, I'm not whatever, I'm just going by the scripture. He who
Absolutely.
finds a wife. So to me, that is letting me know men are supposed to be the ones who approach the woman to find the woman that he is looking for.
Right.
And that's just that. I know times have changed. So don't send these emails. Don't send me an Instagram. Don't put the comments in there. I know things have changed. The men are growing up to be a little bit more shy, to be a little bit more passive, and is not as aggressive as men had to be back in the day, because that was the way of the world. We don't really want the way of the world. The Bible tells you in this scripture, Proverbs 18:22, he who finds a wife, not she who finds a husband.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but again, I'm the late bloomer. We having a heart to heart, just giving it to you straight that way. Don't want to take away from anything that you do. Don't want you not to be aggressive. Don't be whatever. But there's a certain way, and that's what I wanted to talk to, and I wanted to allude to more. We might have to have a second podcast because I know our time is almost up. But how can a woman still show a man she's interested because he's not making the first move, but show a man he's interested, not in a more aggressive style, but in a kind of passive style, or a style that is going to, not where she comes off as aggressive? How do we do that? How can you help the audience, from a female woman perspective, show how a woman can still be aggressive but not be aggressive? And I know that's a tall task, but this is why we have the heart to hearts.
It's funny because I'm more of an aggressive type of person.
Because you are more aggressive?
I feel like sometimes I can be a little bit more aggressive than passive.
Okay.
But I'm also a kind of a flirty person, right? So if I'm out and somebody's flirting with me, I may flirt back or I may not flirt back. I'm very definitely, you'll know if I'm interested or not. Like, because
is that a read the room case?
It is kind of a read the room case,
right?
But I also think initially when you meet people and you may be interested or may not be interested, it depends on the setting that you're in or how you guys meet. It's not necessarily a read the room because you already got feet. Like, you know how somebody tries to maybe hook you up or try to, say you two are like, y'all perfect, man. I talk like, this is my friend. And people always got a perfect person for me. I don't understand where all these perfect people came from, but I got all these perfect people and I don't have none of them. So
see how that worked out.
Yeah, none of it. Like, so yeah. So my thing is this, like, some people have what they think is the feedback that they need to have about you, right? And then they work from that angle instead of actually getting to know you. The best way to get to know somebody is just talk to them and just be you, just talk, right? And those conversations, whether it turns out to be laughter or a joke or something like that, that's always a great start. I think a lot of people start off with first impressions and what they want and what they want this person to be, and they put this person in a box, and it's just not it. So I don't really have a softer way of saying it because I just feel like you conversate with people and you get to know them and you read, and like you said, read the room and read the person that you're talking to, opposed to having your prefixed imagination on what this person is going to be. Because if you do that, you messed it up.
Yeah, and I was talking because it used to be where the icebreaker was, can I buy you a drink?
Yes.
But for guys like me, if I don't drink, I still can say that. But nowadays, if you say, can you buy a drink? You know how much that costs? It can be expensive. And you don't drink, and you trying to buy the women to drink. And that's why a lot of men don't even come up to say, can I buy you a drink anymore? Because women need top shelf now.
Right. And then it's ownership. Oh, I bought you a drink. So, but then now what I've noticed, don't get mad at me because I've noticed that this is true. This is factual. Okay. That I've seen people hanging out, and I may be with one of my friends, and somebody asked her, like, "Hey, can I buy you a drink?" She's like, "You need to get one for my friend too." Like, why is he responsible for me? Like, I'm not understanding why he's responsible for the whole group.
Yes.
When he's trying to get to know you, and why does that make him right? And that gives you the weight of saying, well, is he generous or is he this? Like, you didn't even give the guy a fair chance. And I'm just speaking on behalf of what I've seen. And I know 9 times out of 10, if we're all hanging out, if I'm hanging out with a group of girls and a guy says, hey, can I buy your drink? And if he doesn't say, if I can buy everybody a drink, and you say, why don't you buy everybody a drink? I'm the first one to decline. Like, no, thank you. I don't want anything.
Yeah,
because
I know our time is coming up, and I know we got to go. And I just want to just interject this real quick. There is a subtle way that you can show a man that you have interest. Eye contact, starting a conversation, say, how are you doing today? That's not aggressive. Some women come, hey, what's up? You looking fine, and and you this, and you like, whoa, stop the train. Like, wait, where did you come from? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So just asking a small, subtle question is not being aggressive. I don't think men will look at that as aggressive. It's the women who are really touchy, want to come on, take you over here. I want you to myself type deal. Yeah. That's a little bit too much. If you are that person and you watch this podcast, I'm not telling you to stop because you have to be who you are.
Right.
But if you listen to Proverbs 18:22, it's going to be that man who finds you. If he's going to be that man who seeks and finds you, and that's how the union starts on the journey to unconditional love, especially if you're looking to be married. So that's my last words. You have any last words you want to say on that?
No, you're absolutely right. That aggressive thing, like when you take it that far, when I say aggressive, I mean, I could be the one who be vocal to step up where some people would not step up and say something. But yeah, not to the point where I need you to take you off to the side. And no, we're not doing that. I just want to know what your name is.
Eye contact to let somebody know that you are interested in them, giving them a compliment, saying, hey, I like the smell of your cologne. What are you wearing? That's an icebreaker for the conversation. Or I've seen some women do this. Now, I'm on the fence about this because I don't want to take away men getting free drinks. A woman coming over to ask a man, hey, can I get you a drink? Now, I think that's aggressive. And I think chivalry is not dead. I'm still on the chivalry part. Let me buy the drink. Let me pay for the meal, things like that. But every man is not like that because they've evolved too. And I get it. But you can do small things like that. Just saying hello, eye contact, complimenting on what they have on, complimenting their cologne. Because if you tell a man you have cologne, that's the one thing. Because you know what? And I'm gonna give you a quick story. I know we going over. This is going over. But I used to get a big bottle of this cologne every year, and I never really used it because I didn't really like wearing cologne because I thought it just sometimes it's overbearing and whatever. So one time I was traveling out of town. I said, well, let me try this cologne. So I sprayed the cologne on, got on a plane, and everywhere, like when I got to the front desk to check in, they were like, man, what do you have on? You smell good. Okay. It's a fluke. Oh, I wear cologne. It's okay. But then I get to the what is it? ATF, what they call it? ATF. And I'm like, hey, they're like, man, what do you have on? That smells good. girl, don't he smell good? And I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, I'm on to something here. So
Own is a magnet.
yeah, it can work. So if you want to have an icebreaker, compliment a guy on his cologne, and he will like that. So I don't have anything else to say. I just wanted to have that story out there to just let those women who are aggressive, you can be aggressive in a subtle way as being over instead of being in an overbearing way. But the lesson that we wanted to give you today, the message that we wanted to give you today is Proverbs 18:22. And that's, let the man find the wife. Let the man be the aggressor. Let the man come to you. And again, if you just want to show that you're interested, do that. And then it can help him say, oh, wow, I wasn't even looking at you, but now I'm looking at you. Wow. Hey, yes, let's have a conversation, and it could lead to other things. So I know we've gone over. You sure you don't have no other words?
I think it was great. And sorry we went over, but I think it was much needed information. So yeah.
Absolutely. So, as we end on our podcast, hey, trying to do something to keep you in the right place, but when you actually do something, your place has no limitations. I am the late bloomer. That is my co-host, Harlan Brown, and we see you next week.
See you next week.